Hello, I'm Kelly Mauger and I work at the WI Cookery School, and I'm going to show you how to make a basic Victoria sponge mix. Now I've got a lined cake tin here, which is an 8-inch, which means I'm going to use a 4-egg cake mixture. Now I've got 4 medium-sized eggs in front of me, and what I did was I weighed them with the shells on. They generally weigh around 240 grams, but you do want to double check. Now whatever that weighs, even if it's say 245 grams, you then want to weigh the equivalent in your fats, which I've chosen to go for margarine. You can use butter. Personally, I prefer to use margarine. I think that it breaks down a lot more easily. With butter, you often have to get it to room temperature. I also think that you get just a nicer, lighter, fluffier cake from it. With butter, I do find it can sometimes be a little bit on the stodgier side, and it can also brown quite a lot on the outside of the cake. I've also got the same measurement in caster sugar and also in self-raising flour. I'm also going to use a small amount of vanilla extract, just to help with the flavouring. Okay, let's get started. First of all, I've got my fats in front of me, and I'm just going to add my sugar to that. And I'm just going to use hand beaters. You can use a standing mixer. Again, you could just do it by hand. And I've just mixed that together on a very low speed until everything's incorporated. If I just put that on a level 5 speed, really fast, everything would just spit out of the bowl. So just by putting it on a level 1, just mixing it together. Now I'm going to look to cream everything together. We're looking to get everything nice and lighter colour, and for the sugar to really break down into the fats. Taken approximately 1 minute, and you can see that our colour now is quite a nice pale cream colour, as opposed to being quite yellow like earlier. Now, using a spatula, I'm just going to scrape around the sides of the bowl and also beneath our mixture. So often underneath is where we miss, and you can have sort of unmixed mixture, which can actually really hamper your end result of the cake mix. Next up, I'm going to add my eggs. So I've got them just in a jug at the moment, and I'm just going to beat them with a fork. Now I'm going to add all of my eggs to begin with, and then my flour. Some people add a little bit of egg, a little bit of flour, and they alternate between, but actually it's best to do all your egg first, then the flour, as actually the flour can get very bogged down and you can lose some of the aeration from it by doing the intermittent version. So I'm just going to put about 1/4 of the mixture in. Once that's fully incorporated, we can add about another 1/4. Another 1/4. And you'll notice that it's starting to take on quite a nice rich colour now. It's starting to go a little bit more orange. And now for my final addition of egg. And what I'm also going to do is just scrape down the sides of the bowl again. Now don't worry, once you've added this final amount of egg, the mixture might slightly curdle. So that's usually the reason why we will add the flour and the egg intermittently sometimes. But I wouldn't worry about the curdling. As soon as you add that flour anyway, it will go away. There we go, so now we're fully incorporated. Now, some people like to sieve their flour. I actually just like to add it in just a few spoons at a time. But I'm actually going to do the rest now by hand. So sprinkle over the top. Sieving isn't necessary because flour generally isn't really lumpy. So I just use my spatula and add it all by hand. So I'm being really sympathetic to keeping it nicely aerated. So I'm just folding around the edge and over the top. A few more spoons. Notice that once you've added approximately half of your flour, if it has curdled slightly, this will completely stop now. Curdling usually happens when things aren't at the same temperature. So actually, it doesn't really matter. The flour always seems to bring it together, and this doesn't have a detrimental effect on the end result of your cake once you've brought it back from curdle. Beautiful creamy cake mix. It looks really nice and light. So just make sure you go around the sides of your bowl, and like I said previously, make sure that you go beneath the mixture as well, as this bit can be the most overlooked. And finally, we just need to add a little bit of vanilla extract. I'm going for approximately 1 teaspoon. I'm feeling brave, I'm not going to measure it. And again, just incorporating by hand, just making sure that that's fully mixed in. Sometimes when we mix the final part with of the flour with a hand mixer or any type of electric equipment, can actually beat the air back out of it. So by doing it by hand, this final part, I really think it benefits from that little bit of extra love and attention, and we maintain quite a lot of air in there. So there we have a lovely finished cake mixture. So now it's ready for the cake tin. And we just want to pour it in. And don't worry if it makes the paper of the tin a little bit messy. Just get it all in there, right into the centre. And we can worry about the aesthetics in a moment. Make sure that you get all of the mixture. If you notice that there is any unmixed mixture, do omit it. What will happen is it will just start sinking through. It will be really, really heavy, and quite often that's when we can get dips in our cakes. So now that it's in, I'm just going to spread it out into the cake tin using my spatula. Try and spread it fairly evenly. And I quite often will give it a bit of a wiggle as well, just to try and flatten out a little bit more. Sometimes you will find as well that you've got quite a lot on top of the spatula, and then we can just even out the top surface yet again, just so we have a really nice finish. And this should help to give us a nice flat top on the cake once we're done. Quite often when I cook cakes, however, I do actually flip them over and use the bottom as the top side, as you just get that lovely flat finish. It depends, we'll just see how we go. So this is now ready for the oven. I've preheated my oven to either 180 degrees centigrade for normal ovens, or 160 degrees for a fan oven. I'm going to pop this in. And that will take between 45 minutes and 60 minutes. When it's done, I'll take it out, leave it to cool down, and then we can decorate it. Okay, so my Victoria sponge is now cooked. I've tested it by poking it. So I find that if you poke it like that and it bounces back really nicely, it means that it's cooked perfectly. You can also test it with a skewer. What I do, I pop the skewer straight into the centre of the cake. I leave it about 1 second and then I pull it out. If it comes out completely clean, it means that it's cooked. If it comes out with a tiny amount of unmixed or uncooked mixture, I should say, then obviously we just need to return it to the oven for another 5 or 10 minutes. So now I'm just going to leave this to cool down before I decorate it. Okay, so now my Victoria sponge is completely cooled down. I'm going to remove it from the tin. So peel away the sides, and you can see here that we've just got a lovely flat finish there. Now I'm just going to take it away from the base, peel off our paper there. As I said previously, I usually turn a cake over and serve it this side up, but actually I quite like the top on this one, so let's just go with this way up. If ever I'm covering a cake though with icing, specifically royal icing or fondant icing, I will always turn it over. But for this, I think actually that slight rustic feel would look really appropriate. Okay, so now I need to cut into it. Now I know there are lots of those different sort of devices you can buy to help to cut a nice straight line through the cake. I like to just be brave. I put it on its side, grab a nice serrated knife, pop it right in the centre. I hold over the top and I just go for it. And I just turn round, hold the knife in the exact same place, hold the cake in the exact same place, and you should meet up almost perfectly. Look at this. Lovely. So there we have our nice cake in the centre. We've got a lovely bake on that. So I'm going to decorate our Victoria sponge in the traditional WI way. So I'm going to use seeded raspberry jam. And I'm going to be rather generous with it. I'm using a palette knife. I'm just going to spread that all the way over. Now I generally go up to about sort of 3 millimeters from the edge of the cake. Just gives you a really nice clean finish. Then I'm going to place the top of the cake on there. Now I'm going to sprinkle it with caster sugar. I like to be quite generous with my caster sugar. And then I'm just going to pop it onto a serving plate. And there we have our beautifully decorated Victoria sponge, the WI way. There are plenty of more short skills videos on the WI website, and to find out more information about the WI Cookery School, please follow the Denman link in the description below.